Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Lay aside, abandon, or leave for another. The car changed lanes. Cause to change, make different, cause a transformation. The discussion has changed my thinking about the issue. Exchange or replace with another, usually of the same kind or category. He changed his name. An event that occurs when something passes from one state or phase to another. The change was intended to increase sales. Become different in some particular way, without permanently losing one's or its former characteristics or essence. Her mood changes in accordance with the weather. Give to, and receive from, one another. Would you change places with me? Become deeper in tone. His voice began to change when he was 12 years old. Change from one vehicle or transportation line to another. She changed in Chicago on her way to the East Coast. A difference that is usually pleasant. It is a refreshing change to meet a woman mechanic. A different or fresh set of clothes. She brought a change in her overnight bag. A relational difference between states, especially between states before and after some event. He attributed the change to their marriage. A thing that is different. He inspected several changes before selecting one. Change clothes. Put on different clothes. Coins of small denomination regarded collectively. He had a pocketful of change. Money received in return for its equivalent in a larger denomination or a different currency. He got change for a 20 and used it to pay the taxi driver. Remove or replace the coverings of. Father had to learn how to change the baby. The action of changing something. The change of government had no impact on the economy. The balance of money received when the amount you tender is greater than the amount due. I paid with a 20 and pocketed the change. The result of alteration or modification. There were marked changes in the lining of the lungs. Undergo a change. Become different in essence, losing one's or its original nature. She changed completely as she grew older. Lay aside, abandon, or leave for another. The act of changing one thing or position for another. Move sideways or in an unsteady way. Move around. Change place or direction. The time period during which you are at work. Geology. A crack in the Earth's crust resulting from the displacement of one side with respect to the other. Make a shift in or exchange of. Move abruptly. A loose-fitting dress hanging straight from the shoulders without a waist. An event in which something is displaced without rotation. The key on the typewriter keyboard that shifts from lowercase letters to uppercase letters. The act of moving from one place to another. His constant shifting disrupted the class. A qualitative change. Move very slightly. He shifted in his seat. A woman's sleeveless undergarment. A crew of workers who work for a specific period of time. Change gears. You have to shift when you go down a steep hill. Change in quality. His tone shifted. Change phonetically as part of a systematic historical change. Grimm showed how the consonants shifted. Move in exchange for another. Shift the date for our class reunion. Move from one setting or context to another. Shift the emphasis. Use a shift key on a keyboard. She could not shift, so all her letters are written in lower case. Lay aside, abandon, or leave for another. Switch to a different brand of beer. Control consisting of a mechanical or electrical or electronic device for making or breaking or changing the connections in a circuit. Reverse, a direction, attitude, or course of action. Cause to go on or to be engaged or set in operation. Switch on the light. The act of changing one thing or position for another. His switch on abortion cost him the election. An event in which one thing is substituted for another. Make a shift in or exchange of. First Joe led, then we switched. Exchange or give something in exchange for. Change over, change around, as to a new order or sequence. A basketball maneuver. Two defensive players shift assignments so that each guards the player usually guarded by the other. A flexible implement used as an instrument of punishment. Flog with or as if with a flexible rod. Hairpiece consisting of a tress of false hair, used by women to give shape to a coiffure. Railroad track having two movable rails and necessary connections, used to turn a train from one track to another or to store rolling stock. Insert words into texts, often falsifying it thereby. Cause to change, make different, cause a transformation. The advent of the automobile may have altered the growth pattern of the city. Become different in some particular way, without permanently losing one's or its former characteristics or essence. Remove the ovaries of. Make an alteration to. This dress needs to be altered. Cause to change, make different, cause a transformation. Add a modifier to a constituent. Make less severe or harsh or extreme. Please modify this letter to make it more polite. Exchange or replace with another, usually of the same kind or category. Exchange positions without a change in value. These operators commute with each other. Exchange a penalty for a less severe one. Change the order or arrangement of. A regular journey of some distance to and from your place of work. There is standing room only on the high-speed commute. Travel back and forth regularly, as between one's place of work and home. Exchange or replace with another, usually of the same kind or category. Could you convert my dollars into pounds? Change from one system to another or to a new plan or policy. We converted from 220 to 110 volt. Make someone agree, understand, or realize the truth or validity of something. Exchange a penalty for a less severe one. A person who has been converted to another religious or political belief. Cause to adopt a new or different faith. The missionaries converted the Indian population. Change in nature, purpose, or function. Undergo a chemical change. The substance converts to an acid. Change religious beliefs, or adopt a religious belief. She converted to Buddhism. Change the nature, purpose, or function of something. Convert lead into gold. Complete successfully. Score an extra point or points after touchdown by kicking the ball through the uprights or advancing the ball into the end zone. Smith converted and his team won. Score, a spare. Exchange or replace with another, usually of the same kind or category. The act of changing one thing for another thing. Adam was promised immortality in exchange for his disobedience. Give to, and receive from, one another. Put in the place of another. Switch seemingly equivalent items. Reciprocal transfer of equivalent sums of money, especially the currencies of different countries. Exchange a penalty for a less severe one. A workplace that serves as a telecommunications facility where lines from telephones can be connected together to permit communication. The act of putting one thing or person in the place of another. Sports. An unbroken sequence of several successive strokes. Change over, change around, as to a new order or sequence. A mutual expression of views, especially an unpleasant one. They had a bitter exchange. A workplace for buying and selling, open only to members. Chemical process in which one atom or ion or group changes places with another. Chess, gaining, or losing. A rook in return for a knight or bishop. Black lost the exchange. Chess. The capture by both players, usually on consecutive moves, of pieces of equal value. The endgame began after the exchange of queens. Hand over one and receive another, approximately equivalent. Exchange prisoners. The act of giving something in return for something received. Deductible losses on sales or exchanges of property are allowable. The act of making something different, as e.g. the size of a garment. An event that occurs when something passes from one state or phase to another. The act of revising or altering, involving reconsideration and modification. The act of making something different, as e.g. the size of a garment. An event that occurs when something passes from one state or phase to another. The neighborhood had undergone few modifications since his last visit years ago. The grammatical relation that exists when a word qualifies the meaning of the phrase. Slightly modified copy. Not an exact copy. A modification of last year's model. Become different in some particular way, without permanently losing one's or its former characteristics or essence. Make something more diverse and varied. Be at variance with. Be out of line with. Be subject to change in accordance with a variable. Prices vary. Reverse. A direction, attitude, or course of action. Mutual interaction. The activity of reciprocating or exchanging, especially information. The act of changing one thing for another thing. There was an interchange of prisoners. Give to, and receive from, one another. Put in the place of another. Switch seemingly equivalent items. Synonyms can be interchanged without changing the context's meaning. Reciprocal transfer of equivalent sums of money, especially the currencies of different countries. He earns his living from the interchange of currency. Cause to change places. Interchange this screw for one of a smaller size. A junction of highways on different levels that permits traffic to move from one to another without crossing traffic streams. Become more intense. His dislike for raw fish only deepened in Japan. Make more intense, stronger, or more marked. This event only deepened my convictions. Become deeper in tone. Her voice deepened when she whispered the password. Make deeper. They deepened the lake so that bigger pleasure boats could use it. Transfer from one place or period to another. Transfer somebody to a different position or location of work. The act of moving something from one location to another. Application of a skill learned in one situation to a different but similar situation. Move around. Transfer the packet from his trouser pockets to a pocket in his jacket. Transferring ownership. Change from one vehicle or transportation line to another. The act of transferring something from one form to another. The transfer of the music from record to tape suppressed much of the background noise. Someone who transfers or is transferred from one position to another. The best student was a transfer from LSU. Send from one person or place to another. Lift and reset in another soil or situation. Shift the position or location of, as for business, legal, educational, or military purposes. A ticket that allows a passenger to change conveyances. Cause to change ownership. I transferred my stock holdings to my children. Move from one place to another. Transfer the data. A collection containing a variety of sorts of things. He had a variety of disorders. A show consisting of a series of short unrelated performances. A category of things distinguished by some common characteristic or quality. Noticeable heterogeneity. The range and variety of his work is amazing. A difference that is usually pleasant. He goes to France for variety. Biology. A taxonomic category consisting of members of a species that differ from others of the same species in minor but heritable characteristics. Put in the place of another. Switch seemingly equivalent items. The con artist replaced the original with a fake Rembrandt. Put something back where it belongs. Replace the book on the shelf after you have finished reading it. Take the place or move into the position of. Smith replaced Miller as CEO after Miller left. Substitute a person or thing for another that is broken or inefficient or lost or no longer working or yielding what is expected. He replaced the old razor blade. An event that happens. An event that happens. An event that happens. An instance of something occurring. A disease of frequent occurrence. An event that happens. Presently occurring, either causally or incidentally. Technical terms are rarely occurrent in literature. Follow a certain course. How did your interview go? Have a particular form. As the saying goes. Move away from a place into another direction. Perform as expected when applied. The washing machine won't go unless it's plugged in. Change location. Move, travel, or proceed, also metaphorically. How fast does your new car go? Be in the right place or situation. Let's put healthcare where it belongs, under the control of the government. A usually brief attempt. A board game for two players who place counters on a grid. The object is to surround and so capture the opponent's counters. Pass from physical life and lose all bodily attributes and functions necessary to sustain life. Make a certain noise or sound. Lead, extend, or afford access. This door goes to the basement. Street names for methylenedioxymethamphetamine. Continue to live and avoid dying. Begin or set in motion. Ready, set, go. Stop operating or functioning. To be spent or finished. The money had gone after a few days. A time period for working, after which you will be relieved by someone else. It's my go. Blend or harmonize. This sofa won't go with the chairs. Go through in search of something. Search through someone's belongings in an unauthorized way. Enter or assume a certain state or condition. Get going. Have a turn. Make one's move in a game. Can I go now? Give support to, or make a choice of, one out of a group or number. Stretch out over a distance, space, time, or scope. Run or extend between 2 points or beyond a certain point. His knowledge doesn't go very far. Follow a procedure or take a course. We should go farther in this matter. Be the right size or shape. Fit correctly or as desired. Progress by being changed. The speech has to go through several more drafts. Be abolished or discarded. These ugly billboards have to go. Be or continue to be in a certain condition. Be ranked or compare. This violinist is as good as Juilliard-trained violinists go. Be spent. Functioning correctly and ready for action. All systems are go. Pass, fair, or elapse, of a certain state of affairs or action. How is it going? Change location. Move, travel, or proceed, also metaphorically. Change location. Move, travel, or proceed, also metaphorically. We traveled from Rome to Naples by bus. Travel upon or across. Travel the oceans. Undertake a journey or trip. A movement through space that changes the location of something. Self-propelled movement. Make a trip for pleasure. The act of going from one place to another. He enjoyed selling but he hated the travel. Travel from place to place, as for the purpose of finding work, preaching, or acting as a judge. Undergo transportation as in a vehicle. We traveled north on Route 508. Give an incentive for action. This moved me to sacrifice my career. Be in a state of action. Change location. Move, travel, or proceed, also metaphorically. The soldiers moved towards the city in an attempt to take it before night fell. The act of changing location from one place to another. The movement of people from the farms to the cities. Cause to move or shift into a new position or place, both in a concrete and in an abstract sense. The director moved more responsibilities onto his new assistant. Perform an action, or work out or perform an action. We must move quickly. The act of changing your residence or place of business. They say that 3 moves equal 1 fire. Have a turn. Make one's move in a game. Have an emotional or cognitive impact upon. Follow a procedure or take a course. A change of position that does not entail a change of location. Movement as a sign of life. Progress by being changed. Propose formally, in a debate or parliamentary meeting. Arouse sympathy or compassion in. Her fate moved us all. Change residence, affiliation, or place of employment. We moved from Idaho to Nebraska. Dispose of by selling. The chairman of the company told the salesman to move the computers. Game. A player's turn to take some action permitted by the rules of the game. Go or proceed from one point to another. The debate moved from family values to the economy. Live one's life in a specified environment. She moves in certain circles only. Move so as to change position, perform a non-translational motion. He moved his hand slightly to the right. The act of deciding to do something. He didn't make a move to help. A variation that deviates from the standard or norm. The number that remains after subtraction. The number that when added to the subtrahend gives the minuend. A disagreement or argument about something important. There were irreconcilable differences. A significant change. The difference in her is amazing. The quality of being unlike or dissimilar. There are many differences between jazz and rock. Exhaust or get tired through overuse or great strain or stress. Be dressed in. She was wearing yellow that day. The act of having on your person as a covering or adornment. She bought it for everyday wear. Have on one's person. Go to pieces. Put clothing on one's body. What should I wear today? A covering designed to be worn on a person's body. Deteriorate through use or stress. Last and be usable. Have in one's aspect. Wear an expression of one's attitude or personality. He always wears a smile. Have or show an appearance of. Wear one's hair in a certain way. Impairment resulting from long use. The tires showed uneven wear. A covering designed to be worn on a person's body. Provide or cover with a cloak. Something that covers or cloaks like a garment. Fields in a vesture of green. A covering designed to be worn on a person's body. A covering designed to be worn on a person's body. Suitable for wear or able to be worn. Wearable evening clothes. A covering designed to be worn on a person's body. A covering designed to be worn on a person's body.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.